if I actually hit start to stream over on YouTube. That would actually cause YouTube to stream live. Just so you know. If you're not a very technical person, that would definitely help you out. Okay. There we go. Awesome. Sorry about that. A little bit of technical stuff while we're doing this. As mentioned, we are on Vocal. Today is the premiere of the Aaron Barker Show, not only as a rebranding of the show, but as being broadcast over on Vocal. So we're excited about that. Growing in followers over there too, which is really neat because, again, everybody is focused on free speech over there. And especially considering now when all these social media outlets are closing people down. Back to this story. It says that Rojas, 49 of Houston, was arrested in March and indicted by a Waller County grand jury on 15 felony counts, including illegally performing an abortion and 12 counts of practicing medicine without a license. In a March 17th news release, Paxton alleged that Rojas was illegally operating a network of clinics in the Northwest Houston area. Court documents allege that she would be summoned to the clinics to perform the procedures rather than being on site full time. Patients allegedly paid for the service in cash, according to an arrest warrant. Paxton said Wednesday that Rojas and her network are prohibited from practicing medicine or performing abortions while the case proceeds. Rojas' attorney did not immediately respond to a request for comment on Thursday. They said, "We're still working vigorously to defend Ms. Rojas because we believe she did not commit any crime," her attorney Nicole DeBord Hochglaub said. And adding that her team have yet to receive any evidence that supports the state's case that Rojas operated clinics without a license or provided illegal abortion. Now, the standard of proof is going to be the burden of proof is on the state. You have to prove, obviously, that they did this. And just a witch hunt, going out trying to find people, trying to bust people because you don't want them doing things, that can't stand. Again, because, the precedent that gets set here, and I don't think we consider that enough. The precedent that is set when you do things outside of the confines of the Constitution or outside of the confines of federal or your state law is you're setting yourself up for this same kind of infraction in the future, but on you. So let's say that, what do they call those folks? If somebody in the chat can drop it, what do they call those folks? The women or the nurses that come to the home, not a home nurse, but it's like a midwife that comes to your home and helps you deliver a baby. Oh man, I know the name of this. Anyway, let's say that a person wants a midwife to come to their home. They don't want to go to the hospital because when you go to the hospital, they inject you with all kinds of juices when you're first born. They document all your prints. They take your blood. They take your DNA. Then they use that and freeze it and keep that. They give you, or they report to the state, of course, that you're born. You got to get your social security number, all that. Well, let's just say a person just wants to have a home birth with a midwife. But the state says, no. You must have that in the hospital. So you have to take your child to a hospital. Now the state comes against you by creating some kind of crazy law and then says you're practicing practicing medicine without a license, or by someone who is not doing anything wrong, but just simply going to homes and saying, hey, how about you try this herb? Somebody like, think about Edgar Cayce, the sleeping prophet. If somebody were to come up with that kind of prescient knowledge and power now, and they were in a sleep trance or state, and they were giving these provable scientific and healthy alternatives to modern medicine, if somebody like Edgar Cayce was around today, then someone in the medical establishment could come after them for practicing medicine without a license. And so much, I have a disclaimer on my show, by the way, and it's on Rumble and it's on Vocal and Facebook and anywhere the show is broadcast. There's a disclaimer, and that disclaimer lets you know that this is not a show for medical advice that you're supposed to seek. It's only for entertainment purposes. I don't provide medical advice. The views expressed are personal opinions. They do not substitute for professional medical care. I say that because I don't want those same things coming after me. I don't want people to tell me that I'm doing something improper or doing something wrong. and by practicing medicine without a license. So I do all of that. I make sure that I have my very own disclaimer on here. But just think about the precedent you're setting if you don't try to protect everybody's right, everybody's constitutional right to practice their own personal medicinal practices at home. Then you're setting yourself up for the danger of that same thing being done to you. And please remember that. Please remember that whenever you're considering this, especially because we're talking about this in free speech, about free speech here in just a moment. So all of this we have to consider, and that's why the Constitution is so incredibly important, and that's why law and precedent is so important, because that sets up for the future. It sets up for our own selves, and it makes sure that we are taking care of everybody by exercising fair constitutional law. All right, folks, real quick, I'm going to drop this in here really quick because I think this is very important. I'm going to do some technical stuff right quick. So I want you to watch this commercial. It's just very brief, but just check this out.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including Lindell TV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to Lindell TV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow. Cancel culture has not only affected myself and MyPillow, but millions of you out there. My employees and I want to personally thank each and every one of you for all of your support. At MyPillow, we not only have pillows, but we have hundreds of products, including my new slippers, bathrobes, sleepwear, and my new beds. We're offering the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. For example, we have this exclusive offer on the standard size MyPillows, regularly $69.98, now only $19.98 with your promo code. We also have the queen size MyPillows, regularly $79.98, now only $24.98 with your promo code. And we have the king size, regularly $89.98, now only $29.98 with your promo code. So go to mypillow.com now and use the promo code on your screen, or call the 1-800 number below to receive this exclusive offer. Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow. Cancel culture has not only affected myself and MyPillow, but also millions of you out there. Well, my employees and I want to personally thank each and every one of you for all your support, and we want to pass the savings directly on to you. At MyPillow, we have hundreds of products, including my new slippers, bathrobes, sleepwear, and my new beds. We are offering the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. For example, you get my new towels with proprietary technology, which makes them not only soft, but absorbent. Towels that work. What a concept. They're made with USA cotton, and they come in a variety of awesome colors. My 6-piece towel set is regularly $109.99, now just $39.99 with your promo code. So go to mypillow.com now and use the promo code on your screen, or call the 1-800 number below to receive this exclusive offer. Thank you, and God bless.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including Lindell TV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to Lindell TV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
All right. Welcome back to the Aaron Barker Show. Thanks for staying with us during that break. Really greatly appreciated that. Needed to jump over and do a couple of things real quick. All right. Welcome back to the Aaron Barker Show, folks. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. If you're watching this on on Facebook or on Vocal or any of the socials, be sure to drop a comment in there. That's how you can interact with the show. You can also check this out on Rumble as well. And then on all of the socials, just simply go to Real Aaron Barker. I changed it on Twitter. I haven't changed it on TikTok yet, but Twitter, it's on Vocal that way. Facebook, again, if you just go to Facebook and search for me, you'll be able to request me as a friend or follow me. It is there where I there in Vocal where I post most of my stuff. I am on Truth Social and Getter as well, building an audience over there. I've really been enjoying myself talking to people and generating conversations, and appreciate everybody that has joined with me over there in doing that. Here's another interesting bill. And now a lot of folks are in the past, well, since Charlie Kirk's assassination, many folks have been, of course, blaming the transgender movement. They've been blaming a lot of leftist violence blaming those types of things on leftist violence. And that's something I think we need to be very careful about. But regardless, this is I think this is one of those bills that's being introduced that is just an absolute troll. Okay, I genuinely think this is a troll, and it is a troll to the maximum proportions. It is so much a troll that I absolutely lost it when I was reading this the other day. In Ohio, leave it to Ohio, Dems introduce a bill banning straight men from having sex without the intention of having a child. So the bill, and I am totally not joking. I will share the screen with you here so that you can see it as well. This is let's see. This is a where'd it go? Here it is right here. Here you go. Dems introduce a bill banning straight men from having sex without intention of having a child. That is Trump level trolling right there. It says the two Ohio Democrats proposed a state law that would make it illegal for straight men to have unprotected sex without intending to have a child. According to Cleveland's 19 News, state reps Anita Somani and Tristan Rader intend to introduce the bill's name, Conception Begins at Erection. They intend to introduce the Conception Begins at Erection bill in the coming months. The bill would make it a felony for men to discharge semen without the intent to fertilize an embryo. Those who violate the law would face a $1,000 fine for the first offense, of $5,000 for the second, and $10,000 for any subsequent offense. Now, of course, there's a lot of people out there. I could probably name a few, present company excluded, obviously. That would be like, well, what if I'm just, squeezing one off or whatever? And it says the bill would include exceptions for men who use contraception during sex, those donating sperm or masturbating, and for men having sex with other men or members of the LGBTQ plus community who quote, do not produce ova. I mean, this is. I mean, they thought of everything. So essentially, this is a bill that is targeting straight men that have unprotected sex with a woman. And if you do not have an intention of having a kid, they're making it illegal. Now, a lot of people would wonder, is this the same thing that the Bible does with Onan? Are they saying that if you discharge? Now, Onan was a different case in the Bible, all right? Onan was supposed to step in, insert himself into the family line and father a child in his brother's stead. So that was the way it happened in the Old Testament. If you had a brother, the brother was married, he died before he fathered children. The next of kin would step in, father a child with the woman, his sister-in-law, and then take care of that child in his brother's name. So that is an interesting one. But what happened was Onan was doing the deed. He didn't want to raise the kids without them being his. So he did a pull and pray. He spilled it on the ground and God struck him dead. He just killed him. Right. This is, I guess, in a way similar to that, but it's a felony, and you could get $1,000 fine for the first offense, $5,000 for the second, $10,000 for any subsequent offense. The bill would obviously, as mentioned, exclude anybody in the LGBTQ, and lesbians would be perfectly protected with this as well, because obviously nothing happening there. It says you don't get pregnant on your own, Somani told local ABC affiliate. If you're going to penalize someone for an unwanted pregnancy, why not penalize the person who is responsible for the pregnancy? Now, I wonder, though, why this bill, now, of course, this bill's not going to pass. Anybody with even liberals, this is just a trolling bill. This is set up to make conservatives lose their ever-loving minds. Because, the argument, I can hear the argument now, stay out of my bedroom. You don't need to tell me who I'm allowed to engage with or how I engage this. Oh, wait a minute. Is that supposed to be the way it works? I'm sorry. Let me think here. But the bill's not going to pass. If I genuinely thought it was going to make it past the House, I wouldn't be making light of this. But the bill is obviously not going to pass. Now, when it talks about here, when it says penalizing the person who's responsible for the pregnancy, why does this not also go after females? Because they are engaging in this, in perfectly, what is the word? Well, sex. There's another word for that, cromulent. They're engaging in perfectly cromulent sex, I believe is the term. I'm going to look that up. I wonder if cromulent. Yeah, cromulent. So if a straight woman or a woman of any, hey, she could be bi, she could be trans, she could be non-binary, she could be any of the new genders. If a woman engages in perfectly cromulent sex, is she also going to be responsible if she's pregnant, or is the penalty for her actions the pregnancy? I mean, is she fined? I mean, you're taking away decent money from a guy that could be paying for child support. But instead of him paying child support, he's got to pay a $1,000 fine, a $5,000 fine, $10,000 fine. Now, does that money go to the female? Does that money go to let's say a guy knocks up a chick and they're like, hey, you didn't have an intention of having a child, so we're going to charge you $1,000. Well, does that money go directly to the female? Why is the government going to be receiving any penalties on that or any fees on that? The government shouldn't be inserting themselves, pun intended, into this circumstance, because they're not the ones that are offended by this. It would be the female that is offended by this, right? It would be the female that is impacted by this. It feels like there's a lot of things I'm saying here that could be taken as double entendres, but I don't mean. I'm not trying to fill this with innuendos. That's all your dirty mind if you're doing that. But if males have to suffer this as well, this penalty, females should also have to suffer this penalty as well. But again, this is just master level trolling by the Dems, and I think it is. I think it's great. But I also think that the lesson here is just stay out of people's bedrooms. This is the Aaron Barker Show. Premier For those of you who are part of this historic moment in history, this is the Aaron Barker Show premiere. Grateful that you're with us and very excited about the rest of the show. Now, also, since we're in Ohio and this just happened to be on the same page, I saw this. This is, I don't see a problem with this at all. Ohio changes their campaign forms to tell trans candidates to dead name themselves while filing. Now, this is from The Advocate, which The Advocate is an LGBTQIA plus magazine or online resource. It does cover all of these issues, and that's totally fine. But so when it uses phrases like dead name, I wonder about this. It says here that last year, several trans candidates for elected office were disqualified because they didn't disclose their dead names when filing the paperwork necessary to run for office. One candidate, Vanessa Joy, who tried to run for the Ohio State Representative, said they didn't even know about this requirement. Now, Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose has changed the form candidates in the state. Hold on a second here. Let me restate that. That last name threw me off because there's a pizza joint in Ohio called LaRose's, and then first I was like, well, is this guy related? But no, this guy's LaRose, and the other one here. This is that's LaRosa. This is LaRose. But you see what happens when my mind starts thinking about food? This is what happens. My mind starts thinking and I should transitioning to thinking about food. But it says, Ohio Secretary of State Frank LaRose has changed the form candidates in the state use to run for office to tell candidates to include all prior names used in the last 5 years, outside of those that resulted from marriage. It says here the new form does that, and it is now available on our website for potential candidates to use if they decide to file a candidacy in 2025, a spokesman for LaRose told thecleveland.com. The story continues. Last January, Vanessa Joy, turned in the signatures necessary to run as a Democrat for the House District 50. But she was told by Stark County Board of Elections that she was disqualified because she didn't follow an obscure state law requiring candidates to disclose any name mentioned in the forms. She says something that is important, something that is that important should have been on the instructions. She said at the time it should have been on the petition. She appealed the decision, but the board denied her appeal, saying that the law is unambiguous. Now, I don't see this as discrimination. Is there discrimination out there against trans? Absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, a dead name is and I'm going to try to define this as best as I can in my senior millennial terms. A dead name, when you dead name somebody, that is when you use when a trans person transitions, all right? When let's say in this case, a man transitions to a female. Let's say his name was Bill, and now her name is Vanessa. If you call Vanessa Bill, you've dead named them because that name, they consider that dead. That is, that part of their life is gone. That person, Bill, is dead for all intents and purposes. So if you use that name, it is an offensive thing to do for them. And I'm not saying I agree or disagree with this. I'm just telling you this is how it is viewed in this regard. So if you dead name someone, it's considered a sign of disrespect, and it's supposed to. And a lot of people talk about how it brings up trauma, PTSD, etc. In this case, I don't think that that's the intention of this. Now, if this was his intention to harm or to prevent trans people from running, I don't know. If that's his intention, then that needs to be reconciled. But I don't have a problem if you're running for public office for you to list every single name or alias that you've ever had. I don't know the depth of restrictions or the depth of information that's needed on this, but I do know that when you undergo a background check, like let's say you're going to go through just a standard background check, they're going to get your name, they're going to get your previous name, your social security number, they're going to get your address, your current address, past addresses, your driver's license. They're going to get a boatload of information because they're doing a background check. And in this background check, I'm pretty positive that background checks ask for aliases, previous names, any other name you've been called before. And if you're running for office, that should be something that you automatically do as well. So I don't see it as disrespectful in this case. I see it as doing a legitimate background check to ensure that you're not hiding anything in your past. And I understand that it could be traumatic. It could trigger events. If a woman has changed her name to keep herself safe from maybe an abusive spouse, I can only imagine what kind of trauma that would bring up. A person that has made a decision to transition to the opposite gender, then I could imagine what that would do for them and their families to dredge up and bring up that pain. This is not one of those cases. All right, this isn't somebody saying my name's Vanessa and you're like, your name's Bill. I'm going to call you Bill because Bill's what your parents named you and Bill's what God named you. I'm not talking about that. That's just being a douche. If you're really legitimately looking to cover your bases and ensure that somebody isn't hiding something in their past, because just think about it. A person can go from one state to another state, and they could have been a criminal in that past state. They could have gotten a brand new social security number, or they could have come across a different driver's license or found another way to mask their previous identity. If you're going to run for an office, you're going to represent the people of that state. The people of that state or that people of that district have every right to know who you were, what you did, what previous crimes you committed, who you were in a past life. And then also it could be very encouraging if you're going to look at it from the standpoint as well, if you're in the trans community or the LGBTQIA community, that you're always, when I look at this, you're always going to have that previous past tied to you. Always. When you look at family photos, when you go to family reunions, when you talk to your parents, all of that is still going to be there. You can't run away from it. And even though you call it dead, I know that you're starting over. You're getting a fresh walk, a fresh perspective, fresh whatever. The difference, however, is it's always going to be tied to you. And if you are in the LGBTQIA plus movement and you want to be encouraging to let other people know to come out or to run for office, that should not be something you're ashamed of. And that's just speaking from a white cis male, from a position of privilege. I'm just saying that is the way that I would view this. That's the way that I would look at this. All right, folks, let's move on here. Let's get into some meaty stuff here. That is, let's just jump past this and go right in here to the digital IDs. Let's go to the digital IDs. I don't want to preview. I want to go absolutely straight to the clip. Okay. Let's talk about digital IDs here for a few minutes. And this is Keir Starmer. I'm sure you've heard about this. Keir Starmer is the Prime Minister of the UK, and he's talking about the mandatory digital IDs that they are going to now activate. I think this is very important, and I think that what we need to do is multiple reasons kind of dissect this and look at this from a perspective not only by what he's doing with the digital IDs, but how he's framing the conversation about this. So I want you to pay very close attention if you can. And I've tried to cue this up as best as I could. And I want you to pay very close attention to how he frames the conversation surrounding digital IDs and the importance of having digital IDs. So let's go ahead and take a listen, a little look-see here. Oh, hold on just a second. I got to turn that up. That was such a seamless and easy transition, too. All right, I'm going to do it again. Let's have us a little look-see here.
Patronize people. Now, you will all have issues in your own countries, but in Britain, it's illegal migration. And I suspect that may be the same in a number of other countries. For too many years, it's been too easy for people to come here, slip into the shadow economy, and remain here illegally. Because, frankly, we've been squeamish about saying things that are clearly true. It's not just that it's not compassionate left-wing politics to rely on labour that exploits foreign workers and undercuts fair wages, but the simple fact that every nation needs to have control over its borders. We do need to know who is in our country. Our immigration system does need to be fair if we want to maintain that binding contract that our politics is built on. Otherwise, it undermines trust, undermines people's faith that we're on their side, and their belief that the state can and will work for them. And that is why today I am announcing this government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
All right, now, there's a little bit more that he says here, but I want to stop that for just a minute. I want to talk about this. You hear the way that he framed this. Initially, he said, we have our own problems. Other countries have their problems. We have our problems. Our problem is immigration, illegal immigration. And then because of illegal immigration, they have to make sure people are working legally. And because they want to make sure people are working legally, and because there's been such an issue with overrunning borders and people coming into the country illegally, now we're going to implement a digital ID, a mandatory digital ID. He is using the issue of immigration, something that he knows people are extremely concerned about, something he knows is a problem, and something he knows will get at the heart of what people are afraid of, right? Now, think about that. You look at the fact that the digital ID is now going to be necessary, where your phone or other some type of component, if you don't have a phone, now everybody's pretty much going to be issued phones, but your phone is going to be used as a sufficient digital ID for you to get work. So it's verified. It's not a driver's license. It's not a government-issued ID. It's not even the real ID that they're implementing here in the United States. This is a straight-up digital ID that's going to have your biometric information. And people are going to readily accept that. First, because they're going to be like, well, we have to work. And second, because they're going to be like, that's right, I'm a legal immigrant. I want to make sure that I can work, and all those people that come here illegally shall not work. Now, all you have to do is simply start removing the English accent and start talking like an American and say the exact same thing. Because the framing that is happening in the United States right now and the massive focus that's on immigration is going to be the same inroad that they use to implement the digital ID here in the United States. Now, you look back to what they did during COVID with the digital tracking. Not only the digital tracking, but the contact tracing, what they wanted to do to follow you, to make sure that they were trying to implement all of this. They had geofencing that was set up around facilities to make sure that when that person comes in there, that they're tracking them. They know what they're doing, where they're going, what they're taking, what they're buying. There's actually a really fascinating article or a really fascinating TikTok that my daughter sent me the other day about Target and how Target works with the police and how they constantly surveil you. But the issue of immigration is going to be the inroad that's used here in the United States of America. And the person that can do it is going to be Donald Trump. First off, because people who support Donald Trump and support immigration are going to lap that up, regardless of the fact that it is a complete violation of our privacy rights. It is a complete violation of our right to travel, our freedom of expression, our freedom of association, although those things will be obviously violated by setting up a digital ID, a requirement that is not constitutionally necessary. They're going to set that up and they're going to use immigration to do that. They tried to use COVID. Now just think about this. The next COVID that rolls out, the next big global pandemic, or should I say the next big global shamdemic that they attempt to do, the next big global pandemic, if you're already afraid, if people are already scared of getting infected, and now the next Operation Warp Speed is rolled out, and you have to have your vaccine. And people are going to say, well, in order to get a vaccine, we have to track who gets the vaccine so we can know who can actually go into the supermarkets, or who can actually go back to work, or who can actually go to daycare, or continue to be a teacher, or be around folks at church, or be around elderly. That they will use this as an inroad to implement the digital ID to make us subservient to them. And since COVID kind of worked, it scared enough people, it freaked enough people out regarding the vaccination, and everybody had to get this, and it was It's all necessary and all important. It didn't go all the way because a lot of patriots stood up against it. There are a lot of people that were saying we're not going to wear the face diapers. We're not going to get the injections. We're not going to shut down our churches. We're not going to shut down our businesses. We're not going to continue to prevent ourselves from going to work. We're not going to stop hanging out with our families. We're not going to postpone Thanksgiving or Christmas celebrations. None of that. Patriots stood up against that and said, we're not going to do that. And the government couldn't do anything about it because people just, they did it. The same thing has to happen with digital ID. Yes, there are concerns about immigration. Yes, there are issues at the border. Yes, there are problems. Absolutely. But think about the long-term solutions for this. It cannot be a digital identification. They're also talking about over there in the UK. They're defending the expansion of digital ID plans to include children as young as 13. It says here that Yvette Cooper has defended the controversial expansion of digital ID plans to include children as young as 13, arguing that many teenagers already utilize similar forms of identification. The Foreign Secretary asserted that the standardized system was the right way forward, aiming to reassure the public amidst significant opposition to the proposal's scope. Sir Keir Starmer is reportedly seeking to widen the technology's application, initially intended for tackling illegal immigration, to encompass the management of public services such as benefits and bill payments. It is in its response to a petition against the measures, which has been signed by more than 2.8 million people. The government said that the system would cover everyone aged 16 or over, but we will, quote, we will consider through consultation if this should be age 13 and over. Speaking to broadcasters on Friday, Ms. Cooper said similar forms of identification are already widely used and suggested the plans would offer consistency. She said everybody has forms of digital ID, don't they now? We all have different ways of having to prove who we are. Lots of 13-year-olds already do have a form of digital ID, and what the department is going to be consulting is exactly how that should be taken forward. I do not think that this is the right way forward. I do think that this is the right way forward to have this standardized process now, and it's something that we had been already setting out for people who come to work from abroad. Now, so that is a danger to our children now. Now they're bringing in kids. Now they're talking about how children already have their digital ID. They already have some type of form to set it up. So why not? Why don't we just normalize it completely? Think about it. It's obvious. It's kind of silly to go into all of the things that we use our phones for, or to think about it, or to detail what we already do. You use it to order pizza. You use it to order food. You use it to order groceries. You use it to check in at concerts. You use it to check in at the doctor. You use it to register at hospitals. You use it to register your car. You use it when you're buying gas. You use it when you're buying groceries. You use it for so many things. You have your digital wallet set up on your phone already. What is the big deal about just having your driver's license in there? What's the problem of setting up your digital ID like that? This is a step towards complete technocracy, where they are going to control what you do, where you go, how you spend, what you buy, where you send your money to, regarding campaign contributions, church donations, and ultimately they're going to use this for voting as well. I posted a video I did a video about 7-8 years ago, and it was between the 2018. So it was between the 2016 to 2020 elections, where I detailed my prediction. I detailed my prediction about voting. Now that is even more prescient than then. Digital IDs are going to be necessary to work. Digital IDs are going to be necessary to shop. Digital IDs are going to be necessary to register for all services. And digital IDs are eventually going to be necessary and registered for voting. You will have to use your phone with your face scan or a retinal scan to check in with your geo-tracking location, and they will use that as either a single vote, or you'll be able to do it something like an American Idol or a Voice type vote, where you can vote 10 times or 15 times for your preferred candidate. And the hours open between now and now. Think about the ability that they have to track that many votes that quickly. You have tens of millions of votes on a finale of American Idol, or tens of millions of votes on the finale of The Voice. And they're able to take all of those votes, isolate them, and prevent people from double voting. Sometimes you might vote on your iPad, you might vote on your computer, your phone, your daughter's phone, your husband's phone, your wife's phone, whatever. But think about how quickly they can tabulate the votes by using your phone. Tens of millions of votes. That's going to be the next step forward. On voting day, there'll be a time for your region. And you might even have to still go to a polling location, because geofencing, they can tell when your phone enters into a particular location. And for those of you who don't know, geofencing is where they create a geographical fence around a particular area that is a digital geographical fence around a particular area. And then any phones that enter in or exit out of can be tracked. So if you enter in, your phone is automatically picked up. That's how they did contact tracing. That's how they were warning people that somebody in your area had recently tested positive for COVID or had recently had their vaccination. But when it becomes that geofencing or geo-tracking setup, that's what they're going to use to tabulate and count your votes. Because Aaron Barker was in this geographical location, and we geofenced this voting area. He entered in at approximately 10:38 on election day. He was there for 5 minutes. He registered his vote. His device left. There you go. Simple as that. And they'll tabulate those votes. That's how it's going to be done. Now, you think that that's a little crazy, but consider this. Israel, I'm allowed to talk about Israel here, aren't I? Am I allowed to bring up Israel? Anybody out there offended if I talk about Israel? I'm not going to be talking about Charlie Kirk in Israel. That'll get me shut down. Great. Why did I have to say that? No, but to talk about Israel, this is a contract that did. First off, excuse me. Let's set this situation up. Some people, obviously, it seems like 5 years ago talking about this, the digital tracking, the digital ID, the digital footprint geofencing, etc. It seemed like talking about that for the longest time was crazy. It's a conspiracy theory. It was nuts. It was cattywampus. Now, people are just accepting it. Think about this. The U.S. Secret Service. Now, during Charlie Kirk's memorial. Now, I did say a minute ago, I wasn't going to be talking about Charlie Kirk in Israel. But this isn't necessarily I'm not going to go Candace Owens on you right now. I'm just going to simply talk about two of these instances together that are like this. Before I do, please check us out, check me out, the show, over on Vocal. If you simply go to vocal.com, look for @RealAaronBarker. You can follow me on the Vocal social. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to reset here. So go to Vocal Social, sign up, and follow me. You can also follow the live broadcast over there. Watch the video on demand when it's done. You can do the same by going to Rumble. Just simply go to Rumble and look for the Aaron Barker Show. You'll find the Rumble and all the previous shows. I kept, for those people who wanted to walk down memory lane occasionally, I kept the breakdown videos up. I don't remove my videos. I remove them only if there's like a technical problem, or if there's like a quality problem, something like that. But if I say something, I put it out there into the universe, I don't go back and delete that. Okay, I don't remove that. And in this circumstance, I've done the exact same thing. I've decided that even though I'm transitioning from from the breakdown to the Aaron Barker show. I'm still going to keep all of the previous breakdown shows up there. So that means you'll be able to get 3 years of archives of Aaron, Brian, and Erica when we did the breakdown. You'll also be able to get all the archives when I did the show by myself up until that point. You can go to YouTube. You can watch videos that I dropped 8, 9, 10 years ago. You can see when I was going to Brian Jackson's house and doing the bearded pastor, when I was going to his apartment and doing the shows on a Saturday morning, and then we would do it 2-3 times a week. I remember, and it was various locations we were actually doing that. So you can see videos, you can see all of that stuff, and you can watch and see the change of beliefs and my political beliefs, religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, all of those things. You can watch that if you want to take the time to do it. I don't know why you would want to, but you can. And all of that is up there, because the way that I see it, I work through this stuff by talking to people about it. And if you're out there, if you're listening and you're commenting on this, we're having a discussion about it, that's incredible. I love that. And I would rather say something and then have to go back and recant it than not say something and prevent myself from expressing my true intentions or my true desires. So all of that is up. If you go to rumble.com and just search for the Aaron Barker Show, go to Vocal and look for @Real Aaron Barker. Head on over to Truth Social and Getter as well. And of course on Facebook and X, you can find me there. I'm going to play something for you here real quick, and for all those people that may be joining us since this last one was played, and I will be back in just a moment, and we'll continue talking about the digital ID and what the U.S. Secret Service did and how you're constantly and consistently being tracked. So here we go.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including Lindell TV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to Lindell TV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the CEO of MyPillow. Cancel culture has not only affected myself and MyPillow, but millions of you out there. My employees and I want to personally thank each and every one of you for all of your support. At MyPillow, we not only have pillows, but we have hundreds of products, including my new slippers, bathrobes, sleepwear, and my new beds. We're offering the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. For example, we have this exclusive offer on the standard size My Pillows, regularly $69.98, now only $19.98 with your promo code. We also have the queen size My Pillows, regularly $79.98, now only $24.98 with your promo code. And we have the king size, regularly $89.98, now only $29.98 with your promo code. So go to mypillow.com now and use the promo code on your screen, or call the 1-800 number below to receive this exclusive offer.
All right, folks, welcome back to Hour 2. This is the Aaron Barker Show, the premiere of the Aaron Barker Show. And I say premiere because it's also over on Vocal live right now for the first time. And we are live on Rumble and over on Facebook as well. So be sure to get on over there and join Vocal. I mean, it's really awesome. I like the service. I think it's very user-friendly. And it's really enjoyable to be over there, especially with all the folks who are exercising their free speech as well. And I really feel like, there we go, I am posting over there. I really feel as though this is, I think it's the future of social media as well. And if I could, let me just do this real quick, because you can see if I do this, you can see it's me live over there right now. But if you go here, this is my page. And if you go here simply to the home screen, you can see that I'm here on the home screen. I don't know why it's not showing the mouse, but up here where right above my post, it says Lindell TV is live. And then I'm also right there, and I am live as well. I don't know why it doesn't say that I'm live. That's interesting. But that is that I'm live right there. And then over here at the top, you have your For You page. You have an election tab. And this election tab is awesome. You simply go to the election tab, and this gives you all of the new. The Cause of America posts a lot of this stuff. I follow Cause of America in Kentucky. But this is Cause of America, and the bunch of stories, a bunch of information here that is on election integrity and what is being done to get hand-counted ballots in each state. And so you can go here for election integrity updates. This is incredible right here. This story right now. The Election Crime Bureau has posted up a video where a former senior Venezuelan election official, Smartmatic, developed by SAES, the System Automated Electoral Systems data. It says that utility to provide the integrity of the system that was actually used to facilitate the manipulation of election results. It says here that this technology was integrated within Sequoia voting systems and later sold to Dominion voting systems. So what this gentleman says here, and he's covered up because he's afraid of his identity being exposed and him being in danger. But they have exposed how whenever there was a change or update in a software, it eliminated all of the previous information, which prevented audits from happening and recounts from happening and checks and balances within the election system to happen. So this also, some of the things that Tina Peters was put in jail for is being exposed as being absolutely legitimate and true, that the election was fraudulent, that the election was stolen. Now, this is a complete election page, and you can scroll through and just see the fantastic information. It keeps you updated on all of the election integrity news that you can do. So it's like Facebook, but it is an information super overload here too. When you get all of this information that's necessary for you to keep up on ensuring that our elections are kept safe and that the integrity of our representative republic is maintained as well. Now I want to get back here to the digital IDs because we were talking about this. And don't forget, I will be covering as well this decision by the Supreme Court here in the next little bit regarding the Donald Trump's attack on the states via martial law. So be sure to stay tuned for that. So there was a news release back on September 22nd. Now, Charlie Kirk was assassinated on September the 11th. No, September 10th, right? Yeah, September 10th. He was assassinated on September 10th. The Secret Service and federal partners mobilized in record time, and this is from the Department of Homeland Security. It says that they mobilized in record time to keep Americans safe during Charlie Kirk Memorial Service in Arizona. Now, this is an important thing that I really think that is necessary for us to dig into a little bit here. Let me see if I can. Just making some adjustments here for the. So you all can see it a little bit better, and then we will dig into it. Okay. Doing it on the fly. We'll do it live. There we go. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry, folks. There. Okay. The U.S. Secret Service and federal partners mobilize in record time to keep America safe during the Charlie Kirk Memorial Service. Now, this is important for a couple of reasons. First, they kept calling this and have called this a a Super Bowl level event. This was a Super Bowl level. It said with only 6 days, the United States Secret Service and Department of Homeland Security, DHS and other federal law enforcement partners, and state and local officials mobilized in record time to fully secure the memorial service of Charlie Kirk in Glendale, Arizona this Sunday. Okay, they're being braggadocious. They're talking about the great things that he did. Fine. Okay. Let's see what else that they did. What do they considered here as keeping us safe? It says the service, a national security event, was attended by nearly 100,000 Americans, including President Donald Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, Erica Kirk, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, and multiple cabinet officials. It says here, we are enormously grateful for the men and women of the Secret Service and our law enforcement partners who put their lives on the line every day to keep us safe and make sure Charlie Kirk's memorial service was secure, where nearly 100,000 Americans could gather and celebrate the life of legacy in peace. Under President Trump and Secretary Noem's leadership, DHS has dramatically expanded its ability to rapidly secure major events despite a persistent threat of homegrown and foreign-born terrorism. This weekend's success clearly demonstrated that DHS's readiness to keep the homeland safe as the United States prepares to host the FIFA World Cup, the Summer Olympics, and America's 250th anniversary celebrations in 2026. It said that the memorial service was held at State Farm Stadium with a capacity of 73,000 people. The stadium reached max capacity within hours, and the 20,000 people were gathered in overflow venues. The nearly 1,000 Secret Service, federal law enforcement, U.S. military, and local law enforcement partners worked around the clock to secure this event. Almost immediately upon activation, advanced teams and mission support personnel were on the ground throughout the event. Law enforcement deployed manpower, technological assets, and safety equipment. Now, the technological assets that are being talked about there, people were tracked, traced, and monitored while they were there at this event. Facial recognition was employed. Technological advances were employed to surveil the entire 100,000 people that were there. Now you're saying, well, no big deal. They wanted to keep everybody safe. But think about this. Israel, let's go here. Israel is doing the same thing. How so, Barker? Well, Israel is going to spend $4.1 million in a bid to bolster support among Christians in Western U.S. Federal filings show foreign ministry hired U.S. firm to run campaign targeting churchgoers with digital ads, mobile October 7th experience. With its popularity in the United States crashing, Israel is bankrolling what organizers say will be the largest campaigns of its kind to bolster support among American evangelical churches, until recently seen as an unshakable base of support for the Jewish state. The foreign ministry has hired an American firm to run the campaign with plans to spend as much as $4.1 million on marketing aimed at Christians across the western part of the country, according to the newly filed federal disclosures. So whenever you have a foreign government that's acting in the United States, they have to register, and that's what they're doing in this regard. They've hired an agency. They're going to pay this agency $4.1 million to target specifically evangelical Christians, whom they feel are waning in support of Israel, with all of the recent disclosures about things that are going on over there, the amount of money that's being spent, the genocide that's happening in Gaza. I think that their popularity is dropping quite substantially. I mean, I honestly believe that just having Ben Shapiro, that's probably going to drop your popularity a lot. But it said the documents filed last week under the Foreign Agents Registration Act revealed that the Show Faith by Works, LLC, execute what it bills as the largest Christian church geofencing campaign in U.S. history. A newly formed company with a San Diego address, Show Faith by Works, is run by Chad Schnitger, a prominent Christian conservative activist in California. The initiative is designed to reach churchgoers with digital ads that are explicitly pro-Israel and anti-Palestinian. So the initiative is designed to reach churchgoers with digital ads that are explicitly pro-Israel and anti-Palestinian, while dispatching a mobile October 7th experience exhibit to church parking lots and Christian colleges. The ads The campaign adds a new prong to Israel's U.S. communications blitz, complementing a $1.5 million per month contract for AI-driven social media activity with former Trump campaign strategist Brad Parscale, and a contract with a firm called Bridge Partners to create an influencer network called the Esther Project. You're being turned into a product. All right? You're being turned into a product. That's all you are to people. That's all you are to Google. That's all you are to Israel. That's all you are to the United States. That's all you are, is just a product to be exploited, a product to be sold, a product to be used for their purposes and their goals. That's it. They're just buying you and buying your ID and buying who you are to sell to you and to manipulate you. So let's just say you go to a church. You just decide that you want to head on over to church and just enjoy the service. And as soon as you enter the parking lot, bam, 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 you start getting hit with ads, like spam ads about an October 7th experience, about how you need to support Israel more. And how much of the theology is also going to be put into this? How much are they going to manipulate you by telling you that if you are a Christian and you love Jesus, that you have to support the state of Israel? I wonder just how many people will actually start to do this. How many people will actually start to be hit with these things? Well, that's a silly statement. The churches that you go to are entering into contracts, and very potentially you won't be able to go to church without being bombarded with politics of a foreign country and how you should support a foreign country. And if you don't support a foreign country, well, you don't love Jesus. I have not. My parents are amazing, right? When we grew up, we went to church religiously, pun intended. We went to church every Sunday. My dad was a minister of music, so he was always there. He was the person that was handling the church service. Now, this was way before the manipulative church growth movement started, and our church was not huge. The churches we went to, they were not huge, so they were not infiltrated by these mega churches and the music that they utilized, etc. It wasn't like that. I grew up Pentecostal, so it was a lot of old-fashioned read-back hymnal books. It was a lot of old-fashioned hymns and a lot of Southern gospel, a lot of those types of music. We did introduce some newer stuff from like the Brownsville Revival, if you remember that. What's his name? We used to listen to Lindell Cooley, if you remember him, Lindell Cooley. And he was part of the Brownsville Revival. Now, so we did some of their music, and we would do some of their music at youth things as well. But my parents never drove into our brains that you had to support Israel. They were never like that. They were always, my dad was very focused on the scriptures. He was very focused on ensuring that we did what the Bible said and not what we were forced to believe by regular mainstream evangelical Christianity. Never was like that. So I grew up with the benefit of not being forced to accept a specific type of ideology like that. But think about the amount of people who now, because of the circumstances happening in the world, and because of issues that are happening in the world, are now headed over to churches to try to get a little bit of their fears assuaged, to learn a little bit more, to understand a little bit more about what's happening in society and culture, how they can be a light, how they can actually make a difference in the world, how they can learn more about the gospel and then affect a change theologically that way. But instead, they're being bombarded with a foreign atheistic government that's trying to tell you how you should believe what the Bible teaches. Consider that. If you went to church and they were using Sam Harris videos to teach you about the Bible, not to show you the other side's perspective, not to open up your mind so you get the other viewpoints, But they were saying, hey, let's listen to Sam Harris because he's going to tell you how to interpret the scriptures. I would have a bit of a problem with that. And you should have a bit of a problem with that. Insert your, an atheist, a Christopher Hitchens or Richard Dawkins, or I wouldn't say he's an atheist, but Neil deGrasse Tyson. Think about those folks who perhaps are being utilized to teach you how to think about the scriptures. You wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want an atheist telling you how to interpret the Old Testament or how to interpret Jesus's words. You would want somebody who's educated in the scriptures, somebody who understands the totality of the Word of God and the totality of theology. But that's exactly what's happening if you let an atheistic government dictate how you are supposed to read or interpret or understand the scriptures. Because the government that exists right now in Israel is not Christian. They are not religious. They are atheistic. They don't believe in God. And those who do follow a teaching that is outside of Scripture. So just be very careful with who is coming at you with theology, who's going to be trying to impact you with their teaching, because this type of stuff is going to continue to happen on a larger scale. Now, just think about when they merge Christian nationalism with Trumpism, and then when Trump ages out, when his term is over, they merge Christian nationalism, or they fully merge, I should say. When Christian nationalism is fully merged with conservatism, and being a Christian means that you're a Republican, a conservative Republican, just think about the geofencing that they're going to implement on you then. Supporting your government is necessary. Look at Romans chapter 13. Romans chapter 13 is necessary for you to turn in your weapons when the government tells you to do so. It is necessary for you to allow the government to impose soft martial law and enter your state unconstitutionally, because that's the Christ-like thing to do. You have to do what the government tells you to do. So think about those types of campaigns, because if Israel is buying into these companies and spending $1.5 million per month for AI-driven social media activity with a former Trump campaign strategist, you know they're already thinking about implementing this or already doing it by filling your algorithm with things they want you to know about. You're listening to The Aaron Barker Show. Very happy to be back, by the way. Very excited. And see a lot of folks over here on Rumble, which is tremendous. We have some of the older folks, not old like age old, but some of the folks that have been listening for a long time over there. So, hey, Gifted Guru, want to say hi to you. We are live. Yes, sir. So if you're watching us over on Rumble, that's tremendous. And we are also live on Vocal, and we're over on Facebook as well. So if you want to make yourself known, go right ahead. We would love to hear what you have to say, or I'm used to saying we, because I did this show with other people. But I'm used to saying we. But I do mean, I could mean we as in Mike Lindell and the Specialty Coffee, which, by the way, I'm just going to go ahead and plug this real quick. If you go to mypillow.com and use the promo code Barker, that is, honestly, if you go there, I'm going to pull this up real quick. I have used MyPillow products before. I was using MyPillow products before Mike Lindell was in politics, right? Because, and if you listen to his book, which you can go to, I'm going to do like a whole real quick thing here since we're kind of doing a reset. There's that. And I'm going to, isn't this great? Appreciate your patience. There it is. Here we go. So this is mypillow.com. If you go over to mypillow.com, enter the promo code. Now watch how this happens here. I'm going to go to your pillows, your standard pillows. Just click right here, which I've used even before the fire. We used those. When after the fire, we decided we were going to do the same thing. So we bought the pillows and the sheets and all of that stuff. So here's the classic My Pillows. It's $49.98, right? But if you type in the promo code Barker, right there like that, and hit apply, it removes the $49.98, and now you get a classic My Pillow for $14.98. That is incredible. If you also head over to My Coffee specials, here's the My Coffee, and which is what I've got right here. I have the dark roast specialty coffee, and it smells incredible. It tastes. I drink a lot of coffee, like a lot of people out there do, but I drink a lot of coffee, and this is the dark roast. It smells incredible, and what I love about it is, smell that. Can you smell it? Yeah, I know. What I love about this is I like strong and bold coffee. I always have. This is an organic, a USDA organic blend of coffee, and it is a strong coffee. They have different kinds. They have the light roast, and then I got the dark roast. But this is a strong coffee. I love the strength of the coffee. However, it doesn't have the bitter aftertaste. It's low in acidity, and it's a very smooth finish. So if you're looking for a great kind of coffee, you want to support the election integrity, you want to support our country, and you want to support somebody like Mike Lindell, who is American-made products, an American-made factory, and it employs folks of all different walks of life. The story is incredible. You need to check it out. Then go to mypillow.com, click on My Coffee, and order the coffee. With a subscription, you can save up to 50% on that with a subscription and with the promo code Barker to buy this coffee. And I'm telling you what, you get a sample of it and just try it. The stuff is amazing. I love it, and I've been bragging about it. And it's not just the fact that I'm kind of a fanboy from Mike Lindell, but I really like the coffee. The other thing I want to suggest, right now they got the Percale bed sheets on sale. You can go to mypillow.com as well and get the Percale bed sheets by simply going to bedding, and it is the sheets right here. The Percale bed sheets are $29.98. So we have a split king. So we got the Twin XL, right? So you can use the Twin XL, and those are with the promo code $29.88, which are typically $69.88. But $29.88. And here's the Percale bed sheets right there. You can get these. They're 200 thread count, very comfortable, very awesome. I'll get to you, towels. Just calm down. Those are incredible. Love these so much. They're very comfortable, awesome to sleep on. The other thing I want to show you about is the towels. Now, I didn't open these yet because I wanted to use this on my commercial and show you the MyPillow towels. These are actually, and it says towels that work. And people talk about, but these legitimately work. I love these towels. I showered this morning, and I used my other MyPillow towels. I have yellow ones, and maroon ones, and beige ones, and bright blue ones, and I've got these, right? So don't worry. I am showering on a regular basis. I am using my other MyPillow towels. But MyPillow towels that actually work. You get this. This is your 6-pack. So it has 2 towels, 2 hand towels, and 2 washcloths. And you actually get the 6-piece set for $39.98 with your promo code. So go over there and you can choose from all of these My Towels 6-piece set, all of these colors. So just to let you know, I think I have this blue one, I have the yellow ones, I have the maroon ones, I have the beige ones, I have the gray ones, I have the red ones, and I've pretty much got all of them because I'm obsessed. So go to mypillow.com, use the promo code Barker, get great deals on the towels, get great deals on the coffee, get great deals on the bed sheets, and honestly, I mean, the coffee is just tremendous. And over in my fridge right now, I have their Rev 7, which is the functional energy drink. The caffeine, it's got 0 caffeine, 0 sugar, no ginseng, no citric acid. It's powered by Go BHB, and it helps you with fueling your brain, your mind, and your body. All of that stuff is tremendous, and I drink those as well. I had those. I got you get a free 3-pack with your promo code and subscription, so you get to try them out. So you get this green apple is so green apple-y. Now, I love when I get green apple stuff. I love it to be extremely tangy, and that's what I got here. It was great. So don't forget, head on over to mypillow.com. Use the promo code Barker. Whilst there, you can also go to mystore.com and get entrepreneurial gifts and all kinds of products there as well. Really awesome stuff. All right, that's enough for enough of me shilling all of this for you. And now I need to fix this again because I done did mess it up. Whilst I fix this, go ahead and enjoy this quick thing.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including Lindell TV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to Lindell TV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
And we are back. All right. Now, beware of what you're getting fed by these different organizations that are going to use you as a product. And I'm trying to get to, there it is right there. Awesome. All right, let's move on here because it is, and we're going to continue to have this conversation when it comes to geo-tracking, when it comes to geofencing, when it comes to digital IDs, because so many people are now going to be afraid of immigration. They're going to be afraid of voting integrity. That's why when it comes to voting integrity, just so you know, what I want and what a lot of people want as well is for this to be a did I just close all my windows? No, there they are. What people want is so that you're aware of what they are looking to do. What I want is hand-counted ballots. Just hand-counted ballots. We don't need all of the technological stuff. We don't need all of that. We need hand-counted ballots. And with those hand-counted ballots, that will give us election integrity so that we can protect our elections and we can ensure that everybody's vote is counted. All right, let's move on here. Now, I do, oh man, I tell you what, there is something I really want to get into, and it is about all of the snowflakery that's happening right now within the conservative movement. And I have to take a quick break. Got to grab me a drink, and I will be right back. So don't go anywhere. Because when we get back, I'm going to be talking about flag burning, snowflakes, and freedom of speech.
Welcome to Vocal, the free speech social app that gives you a platform to amplify your voice. Speak freely, connect boldly, and be part of a growing movement for truth, faith, and freedom. Want to know what's happening right now? The Now Playing feature shows you exactly who's live and what's streaming in real time. Check out the show's feed, a non-stop lineup including Lindell TV News 24/7, shows and on-demand programming all in one place. Connect with your favorite host and never miss a show. Explore the featured page for quick access to Lindell TV's top shows. Follow your favorites and watch their newest content flow right into your feed. And when they go live on Vocal, you can join the live chat and be part of the action. Ask questions, share your thoughts, even help shape future shows. Stay informed on issues around securing our elections by following your state's Cause of America account. Join a group and connect on a deeper level, from faith and freedom to the future of our nation. Go to vocal.com or download the app today and be a part of the mission to save our country.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the CEO of My Pillow. Cancel culture has not only affected myself and My Pillow, but millions of you out there. My employees and I want to personally thank each and every one of you for all of your support. At My Pillow, we not only have pillows, but we have hundreds of products, including my new slippers, bathrobes, sleepwear, and my new beds. We're offering the best gifts ever for the best prices ever. For example, we have this exclusive offer on the standard size My Pillows, regularly $69.98, now only $19.98 with your promo code. We also have the queen size My Pillows, regularly $79.98, now only $24.98 with your promo code. And we have the king size, regularly $89.98, now only $29.98 with your promo code. So go to mypillow.com now and use the promo code on your screen or call the 1-800 number below to receive this exclusive offer.
Welcome back, folks. My apologies. I know typically I don't take this many breaks. I'm getting used to all of this, trying to get back into the swing of things. And I just got a message or a chat from Gifted Guru over on Rumble. So if you're watching over there, he said, "Got you playing on a speaker in the store again." That's awesome. So awesome to hear that, because that makes me feel happy. Somebody is playing the show and appreciating the show, and I'm glad to get back in the swing of things. I took a summer hiatus, a couple of reasons, but I just needed to kind of get my head straight around and get my head wrapped around a couple of things. And I had a lot of great time with family, a lot of introspective time, a lot of times just kind of clearing my head, thinking about the stuff that was happening. And I looked at potentially going some different directions with the show, and trying to figure out where I really fit in all of this, and decided that where I fit is exactly where I've been. I know that over the past year, I've gone through some changes theologically and personally and spiritually. And a lot of those are a result of personal tragedy and a lot of hard questions. But one of the things I found is that I'm still essentially the same person with the same beliefs, the same focuses, the same goals, and the same desires. And that's one thing that I'm always going to be, is true to what I hold as my personal convictions. And that's where I landed. And I had a lot of conversations with my wife, a lot of conversations with my daughters. Believe it or I just say believe it or not. My daughters they take after their mom. They're super smart, and they've really got a way of making, just like cutting through a lot of the garbage that you hear. And if anything, fighting for the integrity of our country, fighting for the continuation of our republic, for my kids and their kids when they have them. They don't have any kids yet. I'm not a grandfather yet. But fighting for the election, for the integrity of our country, fighting for the longevity of our country, fighting for the purity of our representative republic. All of these things, to me, are worth any of the pain you're going to feel online or in person, or any of the pain you're going to feel through standing up for what is right and what is true. So that's where that's where the chips for me have fallen, is that you can hate my guts, you can be mad at me, you can cuss me out, but let's have a conversation. Let's talk about this first. Let's talk about it. Not first. Let's just talk. Let's just have a conversation. We'll dig into detail about some of these circumstances, and we'll get into the depth of what it means to be a patriot, what it means to be an American, what it means to be a constitutional republic, what it means to be a Christian, what it means to follow Christ. We'll talk about all of that. And I welcome the conversation, and I am glad to be back. Rev 7 here. That's got a kick. I love it. Rev 7 Blueberry Citrus. Woo. That's a lemon and a blueberry on there, and you can taste them both. Look at that's like a cool ad right there. Oh, yeah. If I can get it on the screen. Rev 7. This stuff is good. I had the lemonade the other day. And the green apple. This is tangy. I like it. I like that. If I wanted to be carbonated, I wanted to have a punch, bow, boom, bang, pop, all that stuff. All right. So let's talk about conservative snowflakes. Let's get into that one. And what do you mean by conservative snowflakes? Well, I mean a couple of things, and let's dig right into this. Down in good old Tennessee, a Tennessee man has been arrested. Not Arrested Development. A Tennessee man has been arrested. And here's what he's been arrested for. It says that after the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk in September, many on the political right set out to punish anyone making light of the tragedy. Not only making light of the tragedy, but just not missing Charlie Kirk hard enough. Like, you're not mourning him enough. I feel like there was a lot of people that had that kind of approach. You're just not sad enough that Charlie Kirk is gone. And trust me, I'm very heartbroken about the fact that this young man was taken like this. I believe it is a heartbreaking circumstance to see this done. And I in no way condone this at all, or condone this violence. So, but this is what's happening. Tennessee man arrested gets $2 million bond for posting Facebook meme. Larry Bushart posted a meme on a local Facebook page about Charlie Kirk. He now faces years in prison. It says that after the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk in September, many on the political right set out to punish anyone making light of the tragedy or even simply being insufficiently upset. In one of the more brazen examples, a Tennessee man was arrested, accused of threatening a school shooting, and held on a $2 million bond for posting a somewhat uncivil meme on Facebook. Larry Bushart, a 61-year-old former police officer, posted the offending meme last month. In response to a Facebook post about an upcoming vigil, in response to a Facebook post about an upcoming vigil for Kirk, Bushart shared an image of President Donald Trump with the quote, "We have to get over it," which Trump said in 2024 after a shooting at Iowa's Perry High School. Text added to the image said, "This seems relevant for today." Now, this is what it was. Here's the meme. He said, this is actually the screenshot and actually what the guy posted on Facebook. Okay. Donald Trump said, "We have to get over it." Donald Trump on the Perry High School mass shooting one day after. So all this guy did was share a meme with a Donald Trump quote. And they took this because, coincidentally, there is a school in proximity to where this gentleman lives called Perry County High School. And what the police are trying to say is that this was a threat of violence, so he's being arrested. $2 million bond, or bail, I think there's a difference. $2 million bond, and I think it's like 10 years in prison. He didn't elaborate on this meme, it says. The image is one of several Bushart posted, and it was by far what Reason Magazine says here on the coverage. They say it was by far the most offensive, far from the most offensive. The image was one of several Bushart posted, and it was far from the most offensive. Still, it certainly feels crass. As people mourned the brutal public murder, Bushart snidely used the occasion to make a partisan political point. All of that aside, decency, decorum, respect, obviously, disrespectful, bad taste, bad form, horrible timing, absolutely uncalled for. but it's certainly well within the bounds of average social media. And you certainly wouldn't expect it to bring the attention of local police. Received a visit from Lexington PD regarding my posted memes, Buschardt wrote in a September 21 Facebook status. According to Sheriff Nick Weems of nearby Perry County, numerous teachers, parents, and students somehow interpreted Buschardt's meme with its citation in fine print about a previous school shooting at Perry High School in Perry, Iowa, as a threat to carry out a similar shooting at a nearby Perry County high school. According to Perry County Sheriff's office website, Buschardt was arrested the following morning on a charge of threats of mass violence on school property and activities, a Class E felony punishable by between 1 and 6 years in prison and up to $3,000 fine. Worse, the bail is set at an astonishing $2 million. Under Tennessee law that went into effect in July, anyone posting bond must put up at least 10% of the total amount, and bail bondsmen must charge a premium fee of at least 5% of the total bond amount, even just to get out of jail ahead of trial. He has to pay $210,000. The Perry County Circuit Court website indicates Buschardt had a motion hearing scheduled for October 9, but when reached by phone Friday, a court clerk told Reason the hearing was reset for December 4th. He posted the Trump meme to indicate or make the audience think it was referencing our Perry High School, Weems told the Tennessean in a statement. Investigators believe Buschardt was fully aware of the fear his post would cause and intentionally sought to create hysteria within the community. Weems also told local radio station WPOC the meme alluded to a hypothetical shooting at a place called Perry High School. It did nothing of the sort. It was a distasteful, ill-timed, horrible meme to post at the time. Hey, if he posted this on a random Tuesday, exposing the lack of civility or the insensitivity of Donald Trump, it just would have been a posted meme. It just would have been a regular meme. But people are on high alert right now because of what happened to Charlie Kirk. And because they're on high alert, they're going to make sure this guy is punished for this, for exercising his freedom of speech to share this meme. He did not threaten a school shooting. He did not threaten harm or damage or physical violence. It was not a terroristic threat. This is a reach. And even Reason, I say even Reason, but Reason Magazine points out it's laughable. It's a direct quote by a then at the time former president who made that, President Donald Trump, who made that statement. And it was simply sharing a quote showing that, hey, everybody is freaking out about the Charlie Kirk assassination. But when a school shooting happened, then former President Donald Trump said, we have to get over it. We have to get over it. I do a horrible Trump impression. I think Donald Trump does a worse impression of Donald Trump. No, but that's what it comes down to. There was nothing about this meme, his intention, at least what he's expressing, that showed any attempt or any desire to express harm. They're trying to make an example out of this guy. So you quote the president, you go to jail. That's one violation of free speech. Let's watch another brazen violation of free speech. And this by our own president, El Presidente. And I'm going to have to update all of this here. Now this is something I created a reel on this one the other day, and it bothered people. And it bothered people because they accused me of not doing Donald Trump's quote in its entirety. Wow, that was loud. Let me get this pulled up here real quick. So Donald Trump was signing a bunch of executive orders the other day. Okay? And this is one of those executive orders that he signed, and he wants you to make sure you pay very close attention to this one. Here we go. Sorry, I'm having to resize. For some reason, I use OBS, and for some reason they changed one of their features where if you share a screen of like a YouTube clip or something like this, that it shows like everything that you have open. And I don't want y'all to see my show prep. It shares like everything that you have. And, you know, if there's any personal information that you forget to close you anything like that, you can share that. So you have to resize a bunch of stuff now. If anybody has a workaround to that, besides using like Restream, one of those other features, which just doesn't work as well as OBS. But anyway, here is a little bit of an extended quote from Donald Trump regarding this circumstance with the freedom of speech. He's in his office signing a bunch of executive orders, and here's one. Oh, let's see. I ended up having to do it anyway. Okay, here we go.
Let's go.
Lastly, sir, this is an executive order on flag burning. It charges your attorney general.
Would you listen to this? This is very important. Flag burning. All over the country, they're burning flags. All over the world, they burn the American flag. And as you know, through a very sad court, I guess it was a 5-4 decision, they called it freedom of speech. But there's another reason, which is perhaps much more important. It's called death. Because what happens when you burn a flag is the area goes crazy. If you have hundreds of people, they go crazy.
They go crazy. Now that's very important to remember what this is based on. And what he's about to say is not in any way taken out of context. If you listen to the full quote, everything he says here, it is not in any way taken out of context. I'm going to fast forward actually to where he actually says the part that really bothers people. This is an 8-minute clip. I'm not going to play the entire clip, but it puts together. It's him in the Oval Office, and then it's another time of him signing this. So here we go.
But thank you very much. Andy Ngo has been repeatedly beaten by...
Now, this is October 8th. So the last one was in August. And the executive order that they're referencing here is an executive order that was signed into law by the president. And this executive order was a year of imprisonment for anybody who was anybody who burned the flag. I actually have, here we go. It says here, let's pull this right on over as well. That way I don't get accused of hiding details again. All right. By the authority vested in me, not me, but Donald Trump, as President of the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered that, Section 1, purpose. Our great American flag is the most sacred and cherished symbol of the United States of America and of American freedom, identity, and strength. Over nearly 2.5 centuries, many thousands of American patriots have fought, bled, and died to keep the stars and stripes waving proudly. The American flag is a special symbol in our national life that should unite and represent all Americans of every background and walk of life. Desecrating it is uniquely offensive and provocative. It is a statement of contempt, hostility, and violence of our nation. Just remember, it is a statement. Just remember that highlighted word that is in the executive order. It says it is a statement of expression of opposition to a political union that preserves our rights. I'm sorry. It is a statement of contempt, hostility, and violence against our nation. The clearest possible expression of opposition to the political union that preserves our rights, liberty, and security. Burning this representation of America may incite violence and riot. Flag burning is also used by groups of foreign nationals as a calculated act to intimidate and threaten violence against Americans because of their nationality. Notwithstanding the Supreme Court's rulings on First Amendment protections, the court has never held that American flag desecration conducted in a manner that is likely to incite imminent lawless action or that is an action amounting to fighting words is constitutionally protected. My administration will act to restore respect and sanctity to the American flag, not mine, but Trump's, and prosecute those who incite violence or otherwise violate our laws while desecrating this symbol of our country. That's what it is, our country. A symbol of our country to the fullest extent permissible under any available authority. The Attorney General shall prioritize the enforcement to the fullest extent possible of our nation's criminal and civil laws against the acts of American flag desecration that violate applicable content neutral laws while causing harm unrelated to expression consistent with the First Amendment. So it gets down to the penalties here. Let me see what the exact penalty is. I believe it's a year in prison. I know it's a year in prison. I'm trying to find where it says that. Violence, and this may include, but is not limited to, violent crimes, hate crimes, illegal discrimination against American citizens, or other violations of American civil rights. Hate crimes? I thought hate crimes. I thought hate crimes didn't exist. Maybe I misunderstood. I don't know, the past at least 10 years, but maybe 20, 30, 40, 50 years. It doesn't go back that far. Maybe I just understood the anti-woke movement, the Charlie Kirk movement that says hate speech doesn't exist. But now it's codified in an executive order that they want to prosecute these hate crimes. In cases where the Department of Justice or another executive department or agency determines that an instance of American flag desecration may violate an applicable state or local law, such as open burning restrictions, disorderly conduct laws, or destruction of property laws, the agency shall refer the matter to the appropriate state or local authority for action. To the maximum extent permitted by the Constitution, the Attorney General shall vigorously prosecute those who violate our laws in ways that involve desecrating the American flag and may pursue litigation to clarify the scope of the First Amendment exceptions in this area. That seems like an awful lot of wasted money. An awful lot of wasted time when, I don't know, Pam Bondi could be releasing the Epstein files that were on her desk but now don't exist. It seems like an awful big waste of time to go prosecuting people in the United States of America for exercising their free speech. I mean, maybe I'm way off here. Maybe I'm overreacting. But when somebody does something that expresses their freedom of speech, perhaps we should, I don't know, let them express their freedom of speech. But here's the rest of this clip. Again, I want to make sure that I play this clip. So let me play the rest of this clip here so you can see. This is what Donald Trump said just the other day on, oh boy, that's a lot of screen right there. There's a lot of Trump head on the screen right there. Okay. All right. Now let's go to what Donald Trump said just the other day on October 8th.
Antifa, and including one assault that left him with a brain hemorrhage. Only days ago, Nick Sortor was assaulted in Portland by a flag-burning mob, and we've made it 1 year penalty for inciting riots. We took the freedom of speech away because that's been through the courts, and the court said you have freedom of speech. But what has happened is when they burn a flag, it's been through the courts. 1 year penalty for inciting riots. We took the freedom of speech away because riots. We took the freedom of speech away. We took the freedom of speech away because we took the freedom of speech away because that's.
There's nothing wrong with the clip. I just keep rewinding it so you get the full extent of what he's saying here.
Riots. We took the freedom of speech away because that's been through the courts, and the court said you have freedom of speech. But what has happened is when they burn a flag, it agitates and irritates crowds. They've never seen anything like it on both sides, and you end up with riots. So we're going on that basis. We're looking at it from not from the freedom of speech, which I always felt strongly about, but never passed the courts. This is what they do: is they incite. When you burn an American flag, you incite tremendous violence. We have many examples of it, many examples of it, and it's actually down on tape. And you see things happen that just don't happen unless it's the flag that's burning. Very recently, Katie Davis Court was hit in the face with a flagpole in Portland by an Antifa radical, leaving her with a very blackened eye. So, Katie, thank you very much.
So he's introducing the people that were here at this time that were in the room with him. Now, one of the other things I want to make sure that I point out here is his. Now, some people are like, "Oh, well, you didn't use. You need to play the whole clip. Play the whole clip. We need more than just. So we need you to play the whole clip." Well, the whole clip is him saying we took away freedom of speech, and then him introducing people that were there. So, I mean, if you want to find the clip, I can drop it in the show notes. Or I can put it somewhere. But here's what let me go ahead and pull this up. Where did I put this? Actually, I'm going to go to a Vocal and show you all on Vocal, because that is going to be fun here. Let me just pull up Vocal. I'll go to my page and I'll show you the clip that I posted the other day with which someone took umbrage because they don't feel that I was fair in what I presented here with what Donald Trump said. So I'm going to go ahead here and play as well this clip that I created the other day of Donald Trump, kind of juxtaposing his flip-flop on, let me see here just a second. I got to mute a bunch of things. This is his flip-flop on free speech.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America. We took the freedom of speech away because that's been through the courts, and the court said you have freedom of speech. We took the freedom of speech away.
That was the video. What Trump went on to say after that was simply that people are incited to violence and incited. It agitates crowds. It gets them all worked up, and it's not done by anything else unless it's a flag burning and yada, yada, yada. So there's nothing else that goes into this except our president saying we took the freedom of speech away, even though it's been through the Supreme Court, even though it won by a narrow margin. Regardless, you can't with a pen and a cell phone right away the Americans' right of freedom of speech, and they know this. This if it's tried, it's not going to last. It's not going to make it. But here, just a big thing to think about here is they hurt my feelings. They burnt a flag, and you hurt my feelings and made me all angry, and I got mad, and I punched somebody. I'm gonna fight them leftists because they done burned our flag, and I don't like it. That's essentially what you're saying. That's what you're doing. It incites violence, and it makes them like nothing done before, unless it's a flag. Bull crap. This is garbage. And this is just a way for them to be jingoistic and to act like they are some kind of super patriot because they don't want a flag burned. I would rather be considered a super patriot, and people hate my guts because even though I think it's despicable, it's your right if you want to burn a flag. Do it. It's stupid. It lacks decorum. It lacks integrity. It lacks respect. But do it. Other than the reasons I just stated, it doesn't hurt me. It doesn't strip away my rights. It doesn't strip away my patriotism or my love of country. It may anger you, but let me ask you this. Who's responsible for your actions? If somebody lights a flag in front of you and you get mad and, I don't know, maybe steal it from them, is that okay? Here's one. This was Nick Sorter. And this was also he was in the office with Donald Trump that day that they were talking. So here is Nick Sorter, and the story of what Nick did. All right, so Nick was in Portland. He saw somebody burning the flag. It made him angry. So what he did is he stole the person's flag and ran away with it. And here is him being all braggadocious with this in the president's office, like a little bootlicker.
Trump, you mentioned that flag. So remember, you put out a truth right after
That's right. I saw that.
took this flag from that man that was burning it in the street.
I saw it. Do you know who he is?
Oh, yeah, I know exactly who it is.
So why don't you give it to Pam? Give it to the Attorney General and let's start prosecutions.
Yeah. I actually have a second flag that he tried to burn as well. So I have two of them from
Well,
the
you
same
also
guy.
saw what happened when that flag started burning. Everyone went crazy. And that's when it started, when they started burning the flag. So thank you. If you could give the information, it would be great.
Absolutely.
And at least that horrible night made you famous. You got
He was
something.
already
I got a text from the President of the United States, so I appreciate that.
And President Trump.
Trump, you
I admitted to stealing 2 things from another citizen in front of the president, and they're going to prosecute that person. The other person I stole from. But at least I'm famous. I got a text from the president. Big whoop. I mean, I don't know anything about this guy. Never heard of him until the other day. And he's never heard of me, probably never will. You admitted in front of the president. You admitted in front of the attorney general. You admitted in front of the Department of Homeland Security secretary. You admitted in front of the United States. You admitted on Twitter. I mean, how many times has this been viewed? Let me see here. This has been viewed 4 million times. So he has admitted 8 million times to stealing personal property from another American. And the president says, we're going to prosecute the person you stole from. Isn't that the exact same thing that happened to Nick Sorter in Portland? He was defending himself, and he was attacked. He was defending himself, and the police arrested him. That's crazy. Isn't that the same thing in this instance? Somebody was exercising their free speech. Nick Sorter stole their property twice. And they're going to prosecute the victim. How does that make sense? If you want to have free speech, if you want to be able to speak your mind and speak out about election integrity and about vaccines, if you want to be able to speak out about the violence that's being perpetrated against the right, if you want to speak out against about the fact that the government is exercising false flags and attacking us on Oklahoma City and 9/11. If you want to talk about that, if you want to express that, you have to have the balls to let somebody else say something that's going to offend your sensibilities. This is just a bunch of conservative snowflakery. You melt because you can't take somebody else doing something you don't like. Well, too bad. Too bad. That's part of being free. That's part of living in the United States of America. You're listening to The Aaron Barker Show. You can go to vocal.com, search for @RealAaronBarker, and follow me over there. That is a true free speech platform. And I am extremely grateful to be a part of that. And this past week, a lot of cool things have happened that I'm very happy with. It was actually at the end of last week, I reached out to them because used to, when it was Frank's speech, you could upload your videos. And I thought, well, man, that would be great to get back to doing that because, you kind of fall off in doing that. It's difficult to keep up with all these things. And they changed to vocal last year, I believe, or the year before, perhaps. And I wanted to do that more. I really like that free speech platform, especially since some of my videos on other platforms are being shut down. So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, can you still upload videos? And they're like, no, we can't do that, but here's what we can do. We can add certain features, etc. And they did. And their customer service there was incredible. I mean, honestly, absolutely incredible. I was flying high. I was through the roof excited and so glad that they are part of ensuring that people's voices are heard and that free speech has integrity. I'm all about free speech because that's what I do here. I want to talk about these issues. I want to express these issues. I want to have the conversation about these issues, but I'm not going to be shut down because you're offended over what I say. And that should not go against anything that the right believes or conservatives believes or especially libertarians. When you do this, when you say flag burning is now going to hurt my feelings and you need to stop doing that, then you are doing exactly what you accuse the left of doing. You're doing exactly what you're accusing the wokeists of doing, and that is shutting down the free expression of ideas. Simple as that. All right, let's see what else we got in the free speech category. I think I'm pretty good with that. If you have anything you want to sound off on that, just simply go on over to rumble.com and look for the show, The Aaron Barker Show, and you'll be able to leave your comments there and have your conversations with me there. You can also go again to Vocal and watch the show live. So the show is being broadcast live like you would see the show broadcast live on Facebook or Rumble or any other place like that. You'll be able to see The Aaron Barker Show on Vocal. So if you're over there, follow the show. Yeah, it's already live. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, there it is. I was worried over here because it says ready to go live, but then it's actually being broadcast as live here, and it's got okay. Just want to make sure that I'm not losing my cranium insides. Okay, let's move on to this. Okay, now I am going to, because I was late, I am going a little over here, and I apologize to anybody. You can go back and listen to this on a podcast in your own time or listen to it on the replay. The video on demand is going to be available on Vocal. It's also going to be available on Facebook and Rumble. And I would strongly encourage you to begin migrating yourself to a platform that doesn't curtail your speech. I cannot stress that enough. Because just mentioning the things that I've talked about today on certain platforms, I know my show is more than likely going to be severely curtailed. Let's see, I'm still live over on YouTube, which is great. Which I'm surprised over the stuff I've mentioned. It might get hit with medical misinformation in just a few minutes or after the show's processed. But you can watch it on all of those platforms. But I strongly encourage you to migrate over to a free speech platform. Those places that I genuinely think are exercising free speech, because I've been posting the same videos that I've posted out. And when Trump does something good, I will point that out when I find it. I'm not saying I'm not saying I can't find anything good, but when Trump does something good, I will point that out. When he does something bad, I'm going to point that out too. And I want to have a platform and I want to have a place where I can actually do that. Getter and Truth are two places you can do that, and especially Vocal. I feel very comfortable over on Vocal right now. And I strongly encourage you all to get to those places so that you can exercise your free speech without the fear of reprisal. All right, let's move over to some of this stuff that's been going on. We've been seeing some things happening in Portland, Oregon. We've been seeing things happening in Chicago. A lot of these things have happened of protesters that are exercising, ironically, their freedom of speech, their freedom to assemble, their freedom of protest, to go out into the streets and to protest the ICE, to protest what ICE is doing. Their activities within each of the states, and protest what President Trump is doing by rounding up citizens. Yes, citizens are being wrapped up in this as well. This is the same kind of stuff, by the way, that we've been railing against for 20 years. Somebody accused me the other day, I can't remember who it was, of not calling out George Bush or not calling out, I think it was Eisenhower. I think is who they mentioned. I can't remember who they mentioned specifically. Why haven't you been calling them out? Well, first off, they're not the president right now. Okay? They're not the president right now. The president of the United States right now is Donald Trump. So that's who I'm going to call out for this stuff. Let's see. Excuse me. So folks are exercising their freedom of speech, their freedom of expression. They're protesting and trying to stop the inhumane, unconstitutional actions by the Trump administration by implementing ICE and its activities within the borders of sovereign states, and also by federalizing the National Guard to attack as well, or to go, not to attack, I'm sorry, by federalizing the National Guard, going into these sovereign states and trying to quell what they call dissent, fighting against what they consider dissent. Now, this has been several times. What is going on here? I'm sorry about that. I am looking over here at my Rumble live stream, and it looks like Rumble for some reason has... No, there it is. Oh, that is so weird. Okay, there we go. Rumble for some reason had... Okay. Sorry, Rumble for some reason was saying that it wasn't live, and I got people that's listening over there, so we want to make sure that they're still on. So let's talk about the authoritarian moves by President Donald Trump to nationalize or federalize the National Guard, go into states unconstitutionally, and try to stop or quell what they call insurrection or dissent. And I have a decision here because, not my decision, but a decision by a judge. And in this decision in the Supreme Court, it was Karen Immergut. She was, I believe that's how you pronounce her last name. She's a United States District Judge. She was appointed by Donald Trump. This is a decision that was rendered on October 4th, 4th day of October 2025, Pacific Daylight Time. So this is a little bit later in the evening, but on October 4th. So this is last week. And I do believe that this, along with Newsom 1 and Newsom 2, are two excellent understandings of how the Constitution and the presidential authority is being overstepped currently. So I highlighted some places within this particular decision. I don't think I have this the PDF, but I could probably pull it up real quick here. The United States, Oregon versus Donald Trump. Excuse me. And by the way, while I'm looking this up, so I can bring this up while I'm talking about it. If you're interested, and there was a person who did this, a conversation I'm having about immigration and the constitutionality of ICE's operations of immigration in each state. I had somebody post the other day a decision, and if you want to get an understanding, you can read articles about this and stuff, but if you just go and actually get the decisions, they cite, I mean, it's awesome. You can read the both opinions, both the opinion that is the majority opinion and the minority opinion on this, and get a constitutional understanding and understand how the judges work through and process this information. I know that sounds kind of silly. It sounds like something we should know, but all of these news stories and articles and information, all these, they're written off of these things because there's so much information in this. But if I can jump into this real quick, the Reason has also published an article that is very telling. It says here, deploying troops to American cities is an assault on the Constitution. Every American who is concerned about the state of our liberties ought to find harrowing President Donald Trump's recent declaration that the National Guard is now in place in Portland, Oregon, as he wrote on social media. The goal is to restore law and order as conditions continue to deteriorate into lawless mayhem. That is not true. That is expressly not true. And I would like to show. So this decision that was written by the district judge Immergut, what she says in this decision, she gives down the I'm going to try to get through this, so it's not super boring, but I don't want to miss any of the information here about what is and how this is so important for us to understand right now in these trying times. So here is the decision there. And if you want to look it up, just type in State of Oregon and the City of Portland. Those are the plaintiffs against Donald Trump. And then type in Immergut, Immergut, and you'll be able to get this decision. So here's how she opens this up. The case involves the intersection of three of the most fundamental principles in our constitutional democracy. The first concerns the relationship between the federal government and the states. The second concerns the relationship between the United States Armed Forces and domestic law enforcement. And the third concerns the proper role of the judicial branch in ensuring that the executive branch complies with the laws and limitations imposed by the legislative branch. Whether we choose to follow what the Constitution mandates with respect to these three relationships goes to the heart of what it means to live under the rule of law in the United States. So essentially, Donald Trump has issued a memorandum, and in this memorandum, he has stated that the 10 U.S.C. Code 12406 is how he is utilizing the activation of the National Guard. So let's look at that. Excuse me. This is the 10 U.S.C. 12406 National Guard and Federal Service Call. It says the United States or any of the Commonwealths or possessions is invaded or is in danger of invaded by a foreign nation. This is where the president can activate the National Guard and to federalize them. The first one, whenever the United States or any of the Commonwealths or possessions is invaded or is in danger of invasion by a foreign nation. If there is a rebellion or danger of a rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States, or the president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the United States, then the president may call into federal service members of the units of the National Guard of any state in such numbers as he considers necessary to repel the invasion, suppress the rebellion, or execute those laws. Orders for these purposes shall be issued through the governors of the states or, in the case of the District of Columbia, through the commanding general of the National Guard of the District of Columbia. That is it. Those three clauses right there, those three conditions have to be met when a president calls into federal service the National Guard. They have to be met, and it's very specific. If those are not met, the president has to go to Congress, constitutionally protected. If China landed on the shores of California and they started invading and killing and raping and pillaging and destroying, Donald Trump at that point, or whomever the sitting president is, could immediately federalize the National Guard. And that would be not only constitutional, but extremely welcomed and supported by every stripe. If there is a foreign nation that is invading, all right, or if they see the ships and the boats off the coast, like, all right, let's activate it. Let's get out in front of this. Let's do it right now. Okay? If there's a rebellion against the authority of the government of the United States, not the individual states, not the government of Oregon, but the government of the United States, if there's a rebellion or danger of rebellion against the actual federal government, he can also activate them. Or if he cannot execute the laws of the United States. All right? So those are the conditions. If those conditions are not met, the president can't do anything without congressional approval. Those are the checks and balances that are necessary to keep a constitutional republic functioning properly, as Immergut says in the beginning of this. The relationship between the federal government and the states, the relationship between the armed forces and the domestic law enforcement, and the proper role of the judiciary in ensuring that the president doesn't overstep his bounds. All of that is in danger if we if we do not follow to the T these types of restrictions. They go on, and what's fantastic about this as well, and I won't spend a lot of time talking about all of the stuff I highlighted in here. It's a 31-page opinion on this. I won't go through all of it, because what she does is she gives you a history of what happened in California, in Newsom 1 and Newsom 2. She gives you a history of what happened in Portland. And really what it comes down to is that there weren't a lot of things happening. Like to the point where by the time that Trump had actually federalized the troops, these had pretty much fizzled out. You had like maybe 20 people. All right. And I know that they're all over social media. I'm not going to say that bad things aren't happening. But all over social media, you're seeing the things that are happening in Chicago, things that are happening in Portland. But here's the thing to remember. Based on the clauses in here, based on the U.S. Code section, the U.S. section here, about Trump's ability to activate the National Guard, what's happening is not being the domestic law enforcement or the police in Portland are not being inhibited from carrying out their active duties. They're not being stopped. They are able to suppress whatever activities are happening. They're able to stop it themselves. They don't need the federal government to stay in. She gives that definition in here as well. She says in this definition, as she's talking about all of the activities that are happening, that they have all fizzled out. There are some that are able to be controlled by the states and by the local law enforcement. She says here that the other ways that you can activate the National Guard are state active duty. So there are three ways that the members of the National Guard must be activated. First, state active duty in the state where they are commissioned when the governor of the state or commonwealth activates their unit. Then they're under the command of that governor. Second, they may be activated under Title 32 of the United States Code, where the governor asks the federal government to bring troops into active duty. So if now look at look at the fail safes that are active here, right? So you have the U.S. Code that says here are the three conditions that must be met in order for the Trump to federalize the troops. Without that, Congress. Now, before it gets to that, there are three other places where a governor activates their own federal guard. Their own National Guard, or where the governor asks the president to activate and federalize and send them for help because they can't handle it. And then the Title 10 of Code of the United States, where they are considered federal military, where they're activated under the command of the president. They're federalized. And now those are the stopgaps as well. Those are the fail-safes to ensure that you don't have somebody that is doing what President Trump is doing by simply activating the federal or the National Guard because he thinks there's insurrection, or he thinks there's a rebellion, or he thinks that they're unable to handle or quell these types of dissent. The insurrection that's talked about when the president has this authority is against the federal government. We're talking about mass-scale insurrection. And when you think about this, consider this. I do not believe that January 6th was an insurrection. I do not believe that it was that there was anything that the president did wrong during that time. Everything Donald Trump did during the time of January 6th, when all of that stuff was going on, I was fine with it. There's nothing I would look back to and be like, you know what, you should have done this. No, I think the president did just fine. And I was perfectly fine as I watched it on my desk. My phone was set up on my desk, and I watched just like every other American watched, with just like, what is happening right now? I thought the president did just fine during that day. And some will compare, and I know that there's some violence happening in these other places. Violence that happened on January 6th was perpetrated against the citizens. The only person that was unalived on January 6th was an Air Force veteran, Ashley Babbitt, and she was shot by a chicken coward, Michael Byrd, who has not been charged, by the way. But what happened that day, Donald Trump did not federalize the National Guard. He didn't activate them, right? Or push to have them activated. But in these small places of dissent, because Antifa is there and because they're essentially fighting against, or not fighting against, but they're protesting, because these groups of people are protesting federal government activities like ICE. that for some reason justifies President Trump deciding to federalize the National Guard and send him there. So the whole point of this decision, and again, I don't want to, gosh, I highlighted so much, and I cannot encourage you enough to go read it. But essentially what it comes down to is that the defendant's argument, and this is what she said here, the defendant's argument that this diversion of federal law enforcement officers from out of state demonstrates that the regular forces were unable to execute the laws is not persuasive. Defendants, which defendants in this case is the Trump administration, defendants or the Trump administration proposed test for section 12406, section 3 would allow the president to call in the National Guard whenever one law enforcement office receives support from another law enforcement office, which is a routine aspect of law enforcement activity. If the president could equate diversion of federal resources with his inability to execute federal law, then the president could send military troops virtually anywhere at any time. So essentially, the standard of proof is on the president to prove that the National Guard needs to be sent there. And he cannot just say, well, your law enforcement in that county had to get other assistance from other law enforcement, which means that they weren't able to do it on their own, which means we're going to federalize the National Guard. That's not how it works. Because under that provision, under that explanation of the third point in U.S. Code 12406, if somebody farts, then Donald Trump could activate the National Guard. We have to be extremely careful here. Even though I'm on obviously Trump supporting and channels like Rumble and Vocal, even though I'm on these places over there, I cannot stress enough that we have to be careful. I cannot stress enough that we have to be careful when our president or our candidate or our party is in charge. We have to be even more diligent to ensure that they hold up to the standard of constitutional integrity, because it's our guy or our girl. We've got to make sure that they uphold the utmost respect for the Constitution. Because when the other person gets in, we have to be just as diligent to ensure that they uphold constitutional integrity. And we cannot allow there to be a chink in the armor. So the whole point of this, and as we look at the videos that are being circulated on social media by all kinds of different people, and we see the unrest and we see the horrible things that are happening against people out there, I don't like any of that violence. I in no way condone violence. I hate it. I hate it in words. I hate it in deed. Their law enforcement can handle it, and they have been handling it. And if they can't handle it, then their governor needs to activate their National Guard in their respective state. And then if that doesn't work, then they go to the president. See, that is the way that this is set up. And we can't sidestep that. We can't sidestep it because we don't like Antifa, or because we think leftist trans are the people that are causing the harm. We can't do it because we don't think immigration is controlled enough. None of those reasons are sufficient for the President of the United States to activate the National Guard. This is authoritarianism, and we have to be very careful. We cannot allow somebody that you voted for, somebody that you support, to do something against the Constitution. We personally have to have more integrity than that. They are also using, one of the things that Immergut points out here is that defendants also rely on occurrences of violence elsewhere in the country and the risk that peaceful protest in Portland might escalate into violence at any moment. Another great thing about these cases, another great thing about reading these opinions on these cases, is that you actually see what their arguments are. Not what they're releasing to you in front of in the media about how they're being discriminatory because it's Trump, because they don't like MAGA. None of that. They're actually making these arguments that, well, over in California, well, what about in California when it got bad? What about in these other places when it got bad? What happened in these other places wasn't bad. Gifted Guru, by the way, over in the chat, which, by the way, thank you so much, over in Rumble, on Rumble chat, says that 3 more died. Roseanne Borland was beaten to death by police, and 2 men were killed by flashbang grenades. See, that was an assault. That was an assault against American patriotism. So I'm begging you, I'm asking you, reconsider your position. Thank you, by the way, Gifted, for that information. Which, by the way, let me do this real quick. All right. Yeah, thank you again, Gifted, for that information. And because, again, we have to be very careful, and we have to make sure that our person that's in that's in office has constitutional integrity. And we can't be happy either when they say comments like, let's use these cities as a training ground for our military. No, no, I'm good. Nope. No, no, I'm fine. I don't know. We're good. I don't need that. I don't want that. Don't want it around. We're fine. Don't bring it here. We're not a training ground for the military. We are sovereign citizens. We are sovereign Americans. So in this opinion, obviously they're saying because the president did not have the constitutional authority to go to this clause, to go to the 12406, 10 U.S. Section Code 12406, that because he did not have the authority to go there and did not have the reasons to go there, he needs congressional approval in order to do anything. And I think that that's a fantastic decision, and it's absolutely right, because this is soft martial law. This is an attack on our liberties. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. Oh, you know what? Because of let me get into this real quick. And wow, I tell you, and I'm so sorry about the technical issues that I had today. It really was unfortunate, but I'm very glad that you all are hanging out with me and staying with me. And I'm really excited, which, by the way, I'm just going to tell you this while I'm pulling up this other news story. My daughter, my favorite, I love horror movies, especially around Halloween, around this time of year. And one of my absolute favorite Halloween movies is Terrifier 2. Terrifier 1 is good. Terrifier 2 is phenomenal. Terrifier 3, favorite Christmas movie. Why not? But like those are I love those movies. So I finally was able to introduce them to my daughter. So Thursday night we watched, my youngest daughter. My oldest daughter's not into slashers, but my youngest daughter is. So it was Thursday night we watched Terrifier 1. Last night we watched Terrifier 2, and tonight we're going to watch Terrifier 3. And then I think it's 26 or 20. I think it's 27. In 27, when Terrifier 4 comes out, I'll now have somebody to go to the theater with me. Because when I went to see the third one in the theater last year, I think it was like me and 6 other people in the theater. And nobody got up. Nobody had vomit bags. Nobody passed out. Nobody freaked out. Nothing like that. But I do have, maybe I can just show you this here real quick. I think I can. Make make sure that it's not going to show anything personal. Image. Yeah, why not? We'll just do image. Ooh, I can just pull it up here. Oh, nice. This is really cool. Yeah, here we go. So this is an image of down entering into the theater room. We have this cool little thing that my wife found. And here we go. So Terrifier 1, 2, and 3 now showing. And it's been so much fun introducing those to her and introducing her to Art the Clown. And it's just been a lot of fun. But anyway, I looked up at the clock. She's working right now. She gets off at 1, and she texted me earlier. She was like, I just remembered that we have one more movie to watch, and now I'm excited to get back and watch that tonight. And I'm like, that is so awesome. I mean, that's just awesome. So, but anyway, okay, that's enough for this. Let me go ahead and remove that. Now that I know I can bring pictures up too, that's cool. Let me play for this, just kind of give you an idea of the things that are happening. Now, I know that folks are talking a lot about the stuff that's going on. This is, I'm sad that this happened. I'm heartbroken, actually, that this happened. And I'm sure you all will be too. This is a pastor. A pastor. Now, for those of you who've been listening to this show for a while, know that I had a pastor as a co-host for a long time, the Bearded Pastor. A lot of you are still friends with him on Facebook. I am too. I'm still friends with him. I talk to him regularly. Not as regular as I want. He just, anyway, I'm not going to go into personal issues or anything like that. No personal issues, like we're not having problems. Like we're still on great terms. But we live, far away, and he's, busy with his job, etc. So it's all of this is all that plays into it. Just forget I said anything. Stop being so freaking nosy, people. Just let me do my show. So here is this pastor, and so you have up here. I really wish. Sometimes I wish you could see it. Sometimes I'm glad you can't. So up here at the top of the screen. See if I can fix that to where it actually will. Hold on a sec. Yeah, because you do need to see that. Okay. So up at the top of the screen, you'll see right up the obviously where this screen is, the very top to the left. On top of that building are the ICE officials that are standing there. Okay. Down at the bottom, you see the protesters that are gathered here. And this man, obviously in the black, is a pastor. And he's pleading with them. He's telling them to repent. He's essentially preaching the gospel to them. And here is how they respond. Make sure this is unmuted. Ah, there we go. Did it before, but still messed up. Here we go. You can see the ICE folks up at the top on the roof. You can hear them shooting. So what they do is they have paintball guns. They're like paintball guns. And these paintball guns have pepper spray balls in them. It's, for non-lethal enforcement, awesome, right? But they're shooting at him. You can hear them hit, or you can hear them shoot, and then I think you can see some of them hit around the guy. But... Bam, shot the guy in the head with a pepper ball spray, with a pepper ball. Okay. So I'm going to let that play here. And a couple things I want to point out. First off, he's there. There was a bystander saying he didn't do anything inappropriate. He wasn't, he wasn't screaming or yelling. He's got his arms out. He's pleading with them, and they're not doing anything that was impeding their operations. So now I want to read to you the DHS defense of this. The Department of Homeland Security, a defense official, said, Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said on Wednesday, defended an Immigration and Customs Enforcement officer who shot a pastor with a pepper ball from a rooftop after a video of the incident went viral last week. Drop this over here. That way I can look at it better. I'm telling you what, I'm going to have to do something different on this. I got to keep changing this and moving this around, and it's kind of annoying. Probably to you more. All right, so here this is. Department of Homeland Security, DHS Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said on Wednesday, the Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin on Wednesday defended an ICE officer who shot a pastor with a pepper ball from a rooftop after a video of the incident went viral last week. Videos of the September 19th incident, which circulated widely Wednesday on social media, showed the Reverend David Black of the First Presbyterian Church being struck in the head by an officer outside an ICE processing facility in a Chicago suburb. It stoked anger toward federal officers who have been deployed to the city by President Trump. What McLaughlin wrote was, what this clipped video doesn't show is that these agitators were blocking an ICE vehicle from leaving the facility, impeding operations. Is that a fact? Like, is that a fact? Let's go back to this video and let's watch. So here you don't really see anything. Here's a side fence right there. And as the video pans over, here's the fence. There's the yellow caution line or caution pole right there. There's the fence. Where are all of the protesters blocking or impeding that? Oh, shoot, you can't see it. This is really frustrating. There's the fence. And all the protesters are to the left of the yellow caution pole. If I rewind it just a smidge, you can see as the camera pans, there's the yellow caution pole back here. There's the gate that opens. Where are they impeding? Where are they impeding the operations? It's a bald-faced lie. Just a bald-faced lie. To justify this unethical treatment of a pastor. She continues over and over again, law enforcement ordered these agitators to move off federal property so the vehicle could move. They weren't saying anything to this guy in the seconds preceding this pepper ball shot. Law enforcement verbally warned these agitators that they would use force if they did not move and stop impeding operations. Didn't hear that once in that clip. Could it have happened before? Yeah. Could they have been in front of the fence before? Yeah. But directly before, whilst this was happening, none of that was going on. They didn't comply. She accused demonstrators of throwing rocks, bottles, and launching fireworks at law enforcement agents on the roof. However, in the recorded clip, Black could be seen gazing at officers with open hands prior to being shot by a pepper ball. He says, I invited him to repent, he told Religion News Service. In an interview, I basically offered an altar call. I called them to come and receive that salvation, to be part of the kingdom that is coming. He was praying to them, and they just ended up shooting him. It was like casual to them, a bystander told them. And when you watch the video, they were just up on the roof and pop, 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 shooting these things off. They weren't yelling. They weren't agitated. They weren't upset. Nothing along those lines. So that is an interesting circumstance that she would directly lie about that. Because let's see her video that shows us the proof of that. They made a sport. What it looked like to me is it looked like they made a sport of shooting these pepper balls at this pastor who was pleading for them to have some decency. Now, I don't know what they're doing is indecent or they're there protecting that facility. Now, I will say I don't believe what ICE is doing is either constitutional or ethical at this point. But that is for another show at another time because it's going on 1 o'clock. I've kept you all for several hours enraptured by all of my wonderful, not only technological issues, but also with my talkiness. So I'm going to let you folks go on this wonderful Saturday. Don't hesitate. Let's see. Oh, Gifted Guru said he should not have crossed the no line. They tried to back him off by shooting the ground, but crossed the line in the ground. Longer clip on the hot seat last week. Go ahead and show me that clip. Send that clip to me. That would be great if somebody could send that clip because this is the clip I found. But I would also like to point out, before I jump out of here, thanks again, Gifted, for your contributions and for hanging out with me over there on Rumble. I'd just like to point out, I didn't even get to that. Oh, goodness, maybe I'm not done yet. Oh, man, we didn't even get to the detective for the Breonna Taylor case. And then Pete Hegseth and the Qatari. Let me see here. So the U.S. announces that it will allow Qatar to build an Air Force facility in Idaho. What the hell? What? Why are we allowing a foreign military to build a base in our country? Are you kidding me? I mean, that should draw protests from all Americans. All Americans. Absolutely no way in hell would I want that or allow that to be built in my state or commonwealth. The location will host a contingent of Qatari F-15s and pilots to enhance our combined training, increase the lethality, interoperability, Hegseth said during a meeting with his Qatari counterpart, Saud bin Abdulrahman Al Thani at the Pentagon. It's just another example of our partnership, and I hope you know, Your Excellency, that you can count on us. What? No, you can't count on us. Who are you to do this? This is unbelievable to me. So if I don't care if they're just training there. I don't care. It's a foreign military on our soil. I don't want it. Just like I don't think we should be in other countries. Just like I think that federal properties in sovereign states are a violation of state sovereignty. I think that there's irreparable damage and harm done to states when federal buildings are built. I mean, who owns that? It's still the people, right? You have a federal building like an ICE facility, detention facility built in a state, and we just have to allow it. We're not allowed to protest it. We're told you can't cross certain lines. Come on. How many people out there, like me, had no problem with what happened on January 6th? But now a pastor crosses an imaginary line and gets popped in the head with a pepper ball. something doesn't add up. Something doesn't add up. All right, that's going to be it for me today. I got to stop because I could just go on for hours and hours and about more of this stuff, and I want to make sure that you all are interested and want to listen to me next week or whatever other times I do this. All right, folks, look. Thank you so much. This has been fantastic for me. A lot of working through some of the kinks, getting back to where I was previously, and I am noticing that on Rumble we had a lot more watchers and engagement when we did the show previously, but it's been 5-6 months since we've done this, so it's going to take some time to build that back up. So I asked for you all to share the show, tell your friends, let everybody know about the show. And if you have any other comments or questions, like Gifted has been doing, make comments there. Reach out to me on Facebook. Follow me on all the socials. Go to Vocal Social and sign up over there and join me, because we all need to talk about freedom. We all need to talk about personal responsibility, and we need to continue to grow and have wonderful conversations. All right, folks, until next time, this is Aaron Barker. And this is the Aaron Barker Show. Follow me on all the socials. Follow me on Vocal, Truth, Getter, X, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, all over the place. And until next time, we'll see you.